As of Tuesday morning, we're about T-minus 4 days away from leaving for Sick Week. All of us here can't wait to get out of this cold weather and get out of the snow. As it stands right now, I need to get my Malibu ready and Billy's Blue 72 Nova ready, but I can't work on either one of them until I get Mark's 55 off my lift. But there's stuff in the back shop that's in my way as well. Well, it's a new day.
It is a new day.
We've been pushing Mustangs.
Dead Mustangs.
Because that piece of here, I shouldn't say people, I can't say that. That Ford is problematic. The starter is still not fixed.
From a month ago?
Yeah, and it's a good thing I didn't crawl in it, because now it's got a cage, and you crawled in it, and then you got in there.
And you see what happened.
Yeah, and then the starter doesn't work. Then you got to crawl out, and then we got to push that pile of junk. I said it again, didn't I?
He did, but it's okay. It's still on the to-do list over there. So.
All right, let's pull the cover off of this thing. What the heck? It's sitting funny. Oh.
You knew you were out here. She was telling me.
Well, this thing is definitely
Not ready.
not ready.
But it's so hard to get ready when it is so difficult to work outside.
Well, it's not difficult to work in here, except for everything's just a mess. Like, Tommy's truck's been in here. We've been thrashing on that. But now that Tommy's truck's gone,
We can focus on this.
we can try and focus on the Blue Nova a little bit. Thanks to my helper here. Oh boy. Oh boy. Where are you going, Chris?
I don't know.
That's a good
Find somewhere to put that.
There you go. What do you got going on?
Just, I could not work because June was insisting to come out and I didn't know which barn you were in. So I opened the door and I followed her. She knows where you are.
Kill. Kill. Hi,
He
baby.
said that he is going to get a much needed power nap.
Yes, he needs all the help he can get.
He nap here or nap at his house?
We have a spare bedroom set.
So we got his truck delivered. That was a fiasco.
Okay, I watched the loading up process from the window.
It was terrible.
I was very scared for everything.
Oh, you should have seen the trailer jackknifed between my trailer and Billy's stacker.
Oh my God.
That'll be in Tommy's video.
I did see a piece of trim fly off of Tommy's truck.
Yeah, Scrap got it. She took it in the house.
Okay.
That's how it got
So
there.
watching from the window, I saw something fall, and the next thing I know, it was on the porch, and I'm like, what? So
Scrap.
Oh.
That'll also be in Tommy's video. Now, I already had a punch-out list worked up for this Nova, but the list continues to get longer and longer the more I look at it. What the?
But it's not leaking out of that. That's the funny part. It's leaking out of the sidewall.
What? It's got a screw in it.
It's got a screw in it.
But that's not where it's leaking?
There's no air coming out of it. But
Where's it coming out?
there's a hole.
What?
Right?
Right there. What the heck?
That's weird. Very odd.
The day Billy bought this car, I drove it home, and I knew instantly that someone had been in the dash. The dash pad is not original to the car, and neither is this Kenwood flat-face stereo that someone's carved into the instrument cluster. The windshield wiper switch has also been broken off and will need to be repaired before I put it back in the car. Once I had the entire cluster removed from the car, I brought it up to the front shop and laid it out on my workbench where I can take inventory of what it needs and carefully take it apart without losing any of the pieces. Unfortunately, a lot of the mounting posts have already been broken off that hold the speedometer into the bezel. Now, the main thing I want to get accomplished is get all the bulbs replaced and replace the gas gauge. And in order to do that, you have to take the entire cluster apart, piece by piece. It's a relatively simple, straightforward procedure once you get the entire dash cluster removed from the car. There's just 3 nuts that you have to remove to pull the gas gauge out of the speedometer. This gauge appears to be original to the car, and I'm replacing it with one from OER. The new gauge looks identical to the original, with two exceptions. One, this one doesn't say anything about Made in USA, and of course the needle isn't sun-faded like the speedometer and the gear selector. While I've got this thing completely torn apart, I decided to go ahead and replace all the bulbs in the cluster, as well as repaint the needle on the gear selector and the speedometer to hopefully match the new gas gauge. I robbed a couple different colors out of Vicky's craft supplies and mixed the two together to come up with a close match, which can be difficult to do since it dries darker than the color you see when you mix them together. The end result wasn't a perfect match, but it was close enough for me. I looked around online for a replacement bezel, but couldn't find one. So for the time being, I repaired this one as best I can. I also wanted to take a little bit of time to do some detail work on this thing while I've got it out of the car. When I was Billy and Tommy's age, I would scour the back roads and buy up every one of these Novas I could find. They were as readily available as Fox body Mustangs back then. How you doing, Tommy?
I took a nap,
I see that.
and Chris gave me a swirly earlier.
Yeah?
You know, because Chris is just a mean guy. He's a bully. So.
You bullying?
Huh?
Tommy says you're bullying him.
Where's that other pocket? Chris had a heart attack today. You're gonna laugh so hard, Billy, when you see this video. I gave Chris a heart attack
Why aren't you editing?
because I'm cleaning.
Oh.
I told everybody I was gonna edit.
Maybe you should be showering.
Last night at 8 o'clock.
You probably need to do it again, I think, maybe.
I'm out of clothes here. If I shower again, I don't want to put my dirty clothes on. I'm going home tonight.
Good thing you have some merch here.
Touche.
Thanks.
Can't afford it. Can't afford my own merch.
What do you think of the Mustang?
Pretty good, right?
It does look pretty good. Yeah, it's
It
just the
wasn't
paint on the
easy.
fenders is just faded a little bit.
Yeah, it wasn't easy because this car's been repainted once, and it's not the factory.
Oh, it's not the factory color?
They added some gold in it when they resprayed it, so
Oh,
it's not like he could just go get a can of Canyon Red.
I got you.
He had to put the gold in it like they did. So. I like it a lot. The only thing that would make it better is if it had the GT stuff on the hood, and probably like black trim instead of painted trim.
Agreed. I don't like painted trim at all. In fact, I don't like Mustangs at all, but I definitely don't like Mustangs with painted
I
trim.
like stick shift ones. If you don't have a stick, I won't have it.
So who won that thing? When does it leave?
Some guy in North Carolina.
Is he coming to get it?
Yeah, I told him not to get in a hurry because the weather's so bad.
Bruh, we're out of room.
I gotta put TRZ or Team Z suspension on it.
Still?
Yeah, I'm gonna put Team Z suspension on the rear and an anti-roll bar before it goes.
Oh,
And then
God.
we're gonna take it to the track together and run it.
Oh.
Make a video.
So you're taking it down there?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I wanna take it down there. And he's coming to streetcar bragging rights too.
Oh, really?
So I might try to talk him into running like one of the stick shift classes and doing a grudge with Tony.
Oh.
We wanna beat Tony.
You want to beat Tony?
Yeah. I'm gonna put 300 in that bitch. Just
What?
grab some gears.
Sounds like a crack stock block to me. That's what it sounds like. So does this thing run yet?
Should.
When you gonna start it up?
Right, meow.
Right now.
You are?
Should be ready.
Right, meow.
Sounds good.
Out that side a little bit.
I don't know what the deal is with it. I don't know whether it's residual from in the turbo or in the header or what. I don't know. It always smokes out that side.
I'm not going to worry about it.
Good morning. It is 2 degrees. It was below zero last night. I'm not sure how far below. We got some issues. Billy's motorhome back here. Emission system bullshit, and it's not capable of making the trip down to sick week. So we're gonna have to call in an audible. Also, I gotta run some wheels and tires into Jegs. Oh boy. Off the front of that blue Nova, because, oh boy. There we go. And then we're also, at some point, gonna have to go get Tommy's truck from Lucor. So, busy day today. Now, typically when you know you're gonna have a busy day, you put a little bit more pressure on yourself to get things accomplished in a timely manner. So I got up early, went to Jegs, dropped Billy's tires off for the front of his blue Nova, and then came back home and found myself stuck in a little traffic jam due to an automobile accident. When I finally got back to the shop, I found Tanner sitting in his car in protest of the fact that there's no heat in the shop. Well, there's no heat in the shop because we're out of fuel oil. So anyway, once me and Buckwheat got the furnace up and going, we plan to go to Bob's to pick up my dually and come up with a game plan of where Mark's 55 is going to go once we get it out of my shop. So Chump Hole claims you're going to allow him to store his car in your garage?
I guess.
Is there room in your garage?
Yeah.
After how many days of cleaning?
None. I just have to organize my tools. Days of cleaning. This ain't your mess.
On our way up to the machine shop, I decided to stop by the body shop and check in with Paul and get a game plan for what we're going to do to get the headers put back on Mom and Dad's car. So we got to come up with a game plan to get the headers in this thing.
Okay.
And I'd rather they go in here.
Okay.
That way if somebody scratches it,
It'll be here.
it'll be here.
Sounds good.
And maybe you guys might lend a hand in making sure it doesn't get scratched.
I gotcha. All good. Well, I'm sure Jeremy's got it.
He's full of shit. I decided to buy a brand new set of ceramic coated headers for this car since the old headers were just painted black. Buckwheat's going to bring them up and install them next week while we're at sick week. That is, if we make it to sick week. At this point, we're going to have to rely on my old Chevy dually to get one of the trailers down there. That is, unless Billy gets his motorhome fixed. So it's time to get this truck ready to hit the road just in case we need it. Because I would rather have and not need than need and not have.
It's time for an oil change. You know what this is? It's a lack of maintenance.
Evidently, the old dually was just a little bit low on oil. So what you're saying is we're going to need to service this before it goes to Georgia.
I thought this thing was done being tortured.
No. Now, although this truck does not look very good from the outside, and obviously it was a little bit low on oil, this thing has always been kept roadworthy, and I'm not the least bit scared to take this thing to Florida or anywhere else for that matter. I can promise you we'll get there. We just won't look good doing it. I bought this truck when it was 4 or 5 years old, and it had 200,000 miles on it when I bought it. And to be quite honest, that's the only reason I could afford it. Billy at the time was 4 or 5 years old, and Tommy was on the way. And so for the last 24 years and 170,000 miles, this old Chevy dually has served us faithfully. Today, the truck's not worth anything to anyone but me, and so I'll likely never sell it. I'd rather just restore it and keep it for a spare truck, just in case we need it, like right now. Anyway, by the time I got back to the shop, Tanner was just about ready to fire up Mark's 55 for the first time since we put the engine back in it. Contact. a hole in the header?
Sounds like there's a hole in the header in the tube over here for some reason.
Now, when I tell you that that exhaust leak sounds terrible in person, I'm not kidding. And I was pretty well stressed out by that afternoon. All right, guys, so it's Wednesday afternoon. Back in here at Jegs. Brought the old dually in here, me and Juniper Rose. We're here to pick up Billy's front wheels, and Tommy's got some things he needs, and I need some breathers for Mark's 55 Chevy. And I gotta tell you, I'm pretty wore out. Today has just flat wore me out. I need to get that dash put back in the 72 Nova tonight, and I want to get Chumpy's 55 taken down to Jeremy's house and drop it off so I can bring my Malibu and the Blue Nova up into the shop. The Blue Nova also still needs to have the correct wheel spacers put on the back. I thought Billy and Tanner took care of that the other day, but they did not. They did trim the wheel wells, but they don't have the right spacers. So it's still got tires rubbing on it. I got to get that situated. We haven't heard yet anything from Lucor on Tommy's blue truck. It's still in there. They're still trying to get the alignment right on it. And that truck doesn't even have a back window in it, so I hope to God it doesn't rain. This truck I'm sitting in right now still needs to be serviced. It has been sitting for about a year since I bought Bob's dually. Bob gets in it and runs it every once in a while and drives it, but like this is the most it's been driven in a while is today. Yeah. It's just been a lot with the trailer repairs and traveling and being in Detroit and being up in Elkhart, Indiana a few days ago, and I don't even remember where all I've been. It's just been a blur, and I haven't been here to like really keep track of what's going on, and I don't know what's going on with Mark's 55. I think it's just a cracked header tube or something. I know it's not serious because we had the engine on the dyno and the engine runs perfectly fine. I'm sure it's not serious, but we got to take that car out of that shop. I got to get that thing out of there. I'm out of room, I'm out of space, and I'm running out of time. To say that I'm stressed out would be an understatement at this point. I still don't feel comfortable that my Malibu's ready, and I know that the Blue Nova's not ready, but I can't work on either one of them until I get that 55 Chevy out of my shop. But given the weather and the time of year, it's not as simple as just parking it outside. Well,
It's gonna look good for my house.
at your house.
Yeah.
Does his attorney know that you're storing it at your house?
Not my job to inform anybody.
His attorney might not appreciate this.
Well, he's got my number, so.
Tanner says there's a chance of sabotage over there.
Oh, yeah. That's what I need to do is make myself more work.
You ready for this?
Yep, rolling whorehouse.
The rolling whorehouse. You better put the window up now because there's no heat in that thing. You'll die by the time you get to your house. There is no key.
Are you kidding me?
I put a return spring on that front carburetor. Try it now. Now, I hate the fact that this car isn't exactly what I would consider finished. It's definitely got a header problem. The fuel lines on the carburetors need to be replumbed, and I'd like to go over the car myself and drive it myself and tune it myself before I give it back to Mark. However, with the weather the way it is and salt on the roads, it's not a good idea to be driving this car around, especially since this is a 23,000 original mile 55 Chevy body that's never been driven in the snow or the salt. In fact, this car has never had any rust, ever. And Mark and I both want to keep it that way. So the car can't sit outside, and since Mark doesn't have anywhere to put it at the moment, it's going to go to Bucko's house, just about 1.5 miles from our shop. He keeps his garage heated all winter long, so the 55 will be in a nice, dry, warm place for the rest of the winter, or until Mark can get a place to put it in at his house. The truth of the matter is, I think he's going to try and get it to a body shop to get some paint work done on it before spring. Because now that the engine's fresh and runs on pump E85, Mark has big plans of driving the car around this summer. Well, how was it?
I'll have to straighten some things out, I'm sure.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It's Thursday morning. I got good news, I think, maybe. Last night, Billy had a guy come up from, I think, Lancaster or Baltimore, and worked on his motorhome and forced a regen on it a handful of times, I think, and got the emission system to clear out what, I don't know what the hell they do with that stuff. Something about pouring pig piss in a tank or something. Some urea tank. I don't know. The stuff freezes, evidently. I didn't know that, but the stuff freezes. And so we were told to park the motorhome next to a building and keep it out of the wind. So we moved things around last night, and we got the motorhome parked over there next to my building, keep it out of the wind. And he also told Billy to not use the pumps, the DEF pumps at a filling station, to buy your pig piss in a jug or something. I don't know. It's not pig piss. It's called urea, but I call it pig piss. But anyway, we got that thing up and running. So we took it for a test drive last night. It seems to be better now. So we're not going to have to use my dually, I hope. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not really sure which is the worst option. I'm not sure if relying on the emissions equipment on Billy's motorhome is worse or relying on my dually is worse. I would probably trust my dually more than that motorhome right now. But we got that thing back up and running. This morning, I got my truck plugged in out here. I'm going to go start it. But Tommy's blue truck should be done at Lucor. So I'm going to try and go pick that up with Tommy here in a little bit. Tanner's going to work on putting a new wide open throttle switch on my Malibu. That's the only thing I really haven't replaced yet. I just want to try and eliminate as many variables as possible. I think the Malibu is just about ready to go. I want to put it up on the lift today and just kind of get underneath of it and check everything, make sure there's no wires or anything laying against the header tubes, and just go over it real close, because this is probably our last opportunity to go over the car before we load it in the trailer and head down to South Georgia Motorsports Park. So we got this wide open throttle switch off.
You can barely hear it click.
Yeah.
I think that's the issue.
I hope so.
I think so.
So the other thing I want to work on today, I want to get that blue Nova up here. I want to put bumpers on it, and I got to put the dash back in it. And Terry got me a new dash insert. I didn't think it was possible to find one, but Terry did find one. While the dash in this car is definitely an issue, so is the tail panel and the rear bumper. And there's no way in hell I'm going to allow this car to be photographed down in Florida with this half-assed mess on the backup. So yet another trip was in order to Jegs to pick up a new SS tail panel, while the boys were picking up Tommy's blue truck from Lucor and bringing it back to the shop to hopefully finish up the cold side and get it ready to load up to take to Florida. But the cars aren't the only thing we need to get ready to leave. Generators and trailers need serviced, and tires need to be gathered up for spares. So I worked on some of that stuff while Tanner had the blue Nova in my shop pulling the bumpers off and getting it ready to put the new tail panel on and get the back of the Nova looking as good as the rest of it. I'm not sure if someone backed into something with this car or someone ran into it, but the rear bumper was KO'd. The front bumper is actually in pretty decent shape, but the chrome matches just about everything else on the car. All of it has some pitting and some wear. So we're going to go ahead and replace the side markers and bezels while we've got the car in here tore apart as well. Tanner put the new front bumper on first while he was waiting on me to bring parts back from Jay. Once we had the new taillights installed, the new SS tail panel and new rear bumper, I turned my attention to getting the dash put back together as quickly as possible. Thankfully, Uncle Terry was able to find us a brand new dash bezel, and after bench testing all the dash lights, it was time to put the dash cluster back in the car. Now, when I was Billy and Tommy's age, I used to work on these Novas all the time, and I learned the hard way how to take these things apart and put them back together before there was an internet or YouTube videos to watch on how to do it. I've always loved these cars, and I truly enjoy putting them back together the way they're supposed to be. All right, guys, so it's about 12:30 Friday morning. I'm pretty tired. The kids are still out in the back shop working on Tommy's truck, and they look like they're exhausted. I'm out here trying to fix this Nova. Tomorrow I got to go down to Mark's. I got to get some bulbs some taillight sockets for this Nova. I've got a section of AC tubing underneath the dash that's missing, and I've got a joint in the AC plumbing underneath the dash that needs to be sealed. That way the blower motor is actually blowing air through the vents and not just up underneath the dash of the car. So I'll work on that tomorrow. We'll see what tomorrow brings, but we're getting pretty close. I'm pretty happy with the dash in the Nova. That really turned out nice. That new dash insert came from Jegs, but it was actually made by Golden Star, and it was a very nice piece. I've got it all straightened up pretty decent now. Everything works like it should. So pretty excited. I'm pretty excited about the Nova. The Nova's coming out pretty nice. It's going to be a really neat car. It runs like a top. Air conditioning blows ice cold. I don't know what more you could ask for, honestly, out of a 53-year-old car. Anyway, I'm going to go to bed. We'll see you guys in the morning.
So this brings us to Friday morning, and we are 24 hours away from escaping the snow and the cold weather here in Ohio. And we're getting down to the nitty-gritty details that we need to get taken care of before we leave.
All right, guys, so it's Friday morning. We're preparing to start loading everything up. We got some work to do on the trailers. We're swapping tire on mine. I had a spare on my trailer. We're getting that swapped out. Need to get the battery charger on the kids' trailer. I don't know what the condition is of the batteries and the stacker, but I think Tommy was out here working till 4 in the morning. I was editing till 3:30 in the morning. I went to bed about, well, I went in the house about 1 and edited till 3:30. It's a little bit warmer today. It's like a little heat wave. It's like in the 20s. Anyway, Mark's on his way here now with the taillight bulb sockets for the Nova and a handful of other things that we need, including hopefully a tow strap. I'm taking at least one tow strap with me because I guarantee you one of us is going to end up on the end of it before this deal's over.
Once my parts delivery arrived, Tanner and I both got busy finishing up the Nova. Or so we thought.
People say you don't work on things.
I just want to make sure the air conditioning in this car works as best it can. Once I finished working underneath the dash, we backed it outside, decided to take it into town for a test drive, and top it off with fuel to make sure that the gas gauge works properly. I also wanted to make sure that the speedometer is accurate. This little 72 Nova is one of the cleanest ones I've ever seen this far north. I really like the car, and I want to make sure that everything about this car is as right as I can possibly make it.
We did the best we could.
Unfortunately, the gas gauge only goes to half a tank when the tank's full, but the gas gauge is the least of our problems.
Them tires fit perfect.
Yep. Great.
Unfortunately, after Billy put the wheel spacers on the other night, the 275/60/15 drag radials do not fit in the stock wheel wells. So yet another trip to Jegs was in order to retrieve some 255/60/15 drag radials, which should be the finishing touch on getting the Blue Nova ready for Florida. I made it back to the shop just in time to get the wheels and tires put on so Billy could take the car into town to get it inspected, since he bought it out of state.
All right, everybody, we got everything loaded up this evening. My Malibu's in the trailer, and we've got company.
Hello.
So Tony and Tess made it down. You came down from Michigan, right?
Yeah.
You were at Team
Z.
Team Z.
So they flew into there.
They flew it. Oh, here we go. So they flew into Michigan and picked up the trash panda.
And look at the trailer Tess built.
It's a tiny baby trailer.
Tiny
Yeah.
baby trailer.
So they're going to Sick Week with us, right?
Yeah.
You guys are going down. And yeah, so they're out here working on
Last minute stuff.
the Maverick.
Everybody has last minute stuff.
Everybody has last minute stuff. The kids are still thrashing on Tommy's truck. My Malibu's in the trailer. I think me and Tanner are going to leave tomorrow, I think. We'll see how that goes.
We'll see.
And we're going to get down there early and get our pit spot saved and maybe try and get that 496 delivered to the winter.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh, there's a detail you missed, squirrel.
There's so much going on.
Yeah. So, yeah. I think we're ready. I think I'm ready.
I tried to get the trailer ready. My job is like get the bedding and the clothes and so I go in there to mop the floor and I put my cleaner on the floor and it froze. It froze solid instantly as soon as it touched the floor.
You gonna take care of my cats while we're going?
What? Cats?
I'll go visit them.
Cats? So what's this thing all about? Let me guess. Stick shift.
Well, it's got a forward motor in it.
Yeah. So what all did you guys do at Team Z?
You see how you can fit your whole hand in here and not just 3 fingers?
Oh, yeah.
So they pushed the shock towers back, did a whole K member, which
Nice.
they're one of 2 people that offer K members for Mavericks now. So it's pretty awesome.
So I like Mavericks.
I love Mavericks.
I don't like working on them, though.
No, it's terrible.
No, it's good.
Oh, this one's good. This one's not bad.
Yeah, changing spark plugs
been
on this
testified
was-
now.
there
It's
was
been
always-
testified?
Yeah.
It's been testified.
There were always
So now it uses
injuries.
Fox body struts.
Yeah,
Well, that's nice.
Fox body struts, Fox body spindles, Fox body hot boys.
So is this a kit that they're offering?
Yeah, they're not offering it yet.
Oh,
You're kind of like their test guinea pig.
We're
This
test
is
dummies
the-
for a lot of people.
So we're
Give
gonna
it to
put
them. They'll fucking
We're gonna put it to the test at sick week, and we're gonna get back to them with some notes so they can update the next one.
so Tony, I'm going to get a haircut tomorrow. You want to go with me?
No, I'm just going, man. This is how it is.
When he came in earlier, June was pissed. She's like, what in the hell is that?
That guy must be from California.
All right, so that's going to do it for this video, guys. We're just about ready. These guys are thrashing. They're going to be ready eventually at some point.
One more, I think one more all-nighter.
We don't have much left. Tommy's wiring up his trans brake now, and we gotta figure out why his Holly Dash isn't working.
Okay, so Tommy's doing fuel injection things, and yeah.
Holly Dash.